It's That's who you want to be. I don't know if you heard what Marty just said. There was a little kid at the congregation they came from, but said that he wanted to go when he heard that Marty was playing music. But I bet you there are a lot of kiddos in this congregation who have something similar with Sam Burgers. Oh yeah, I want to be there. I'll go after him. Oh, that's cool. I hope so. I'm trying to make it fun. This is beautiful, fabulous congregation. The early service today was really it was like almost twice as Mother's Day, and then they had plans, maybe they could get out. That's I'm kind of wondering that, and I felt really badly because I was like, so we have only one more morning service before the summer. Back in the fall. I was looking around going, well, it seems taken off. Yeah, but we had the place here. Like it probably had just a little less than this right here. That's awesome. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. I know this. Me too. I feel a little guilty I didn't write anything because I know that's like part of what makes our work special. And my goal is, if I can do something to make it so we don't have this, given that we do a lot of beautiful things like the work of the congregation, and we still are we don't have as many readings, so I don't mind if that makes it easier. Yeah. But it is extraordinary when people do that reflection. Yeah, I do like it. It's the most stressful part of it for me. It's not just finding the time to be reflective during the week and then getting it down, but honing it down. Interesting or useful or whatever it's supposed to be. Good morning. Now I see what's going on. We had a really full service at 9 a.m. I think half of us, as we sometimes intend, came to that so they would be ready for the rest of their day. This morning for our welcome time, it's a little bit of a call and response. So you have a part to play in this, and this is your part. You are beloved and you are welcome here. Will you say that with me? You are beloved and you are welcome here. So I'm going to say something and you respond with me, all right? Whether tears have fallen from your eyes this past week or gleeful laughter has spilled out of your smiling mouth, you are beloved and you are welcome here. Whether you are feeling brave or brokenhearted, defiant or defeated, fearsome or fearful, You are beloved, and you are welcome here. Whether you have untold stories buried deep inside or stories that have been forced beyond the edges of comfort, you are beloved, and you are welcome here. Whether you have made promises, broken promises, or are renewing your promises, you are beloved, and you are welcome here. Whatever is on your heart, however it is with your soul in this moment, you are beloved, and you are welcome here. In this space of welcome and acceptance, commitment and recommitment, of covenant and connection, let us worship together.
Thank you, choir. Good morning. My name is Laurel Jernigan. I'm today's worship associate. We will be this morning celebrating in word, song, and ritual, joining in a long history of spiritual reflection and practice from our Unitarian and Universalist histories. In 1872, Unitarian suffragist Julia Ward Howe began advocating for a Mother's Day of Peace, in which no child of a mother would have to go to war. What an idea, what a vision. That is the origin of our contemporary Mother's Day, and alongside it, we will practice our flower communion, designed by Norbert Čapek and brought to the U.S. by his wife Maya Čapek in 1940. And Elliot is going to come light our chalice for us. In honor of the many loving souls who crafted and bequeathed to us a vibrant history, and in contemplation of those who will follow us, we kindle our chalice, the light for our own time, for wisdom and courage. Thanks, Elliot. I'm sorry. If you will, rise in body or spirit for the singing of our hymn number 1068 in the teal hymnal. This is Rising Green. We'll be singing verses 1, 2, and 4 just to keep you on your toes.
Good morning. Buenos dias. I'm Reverend Claudia Jimenez, and I serve this congregation as Minister of Faith Development. And this morning, I bring you our wisdom conversation. So we are going to start by looking in our story box. Does anybody want to show us, Elliot, what is in the story box? Do you want to open it up? What's in there?
Flowers.
Okay, so we have some flowers. These flowers were actually made by Levi. We have the real thing right here. So what do you think we're going to talk about today?
Flowers.
Flowers.
A bucket with hearts in it.
And we have a bucket with hearts in it. We're going to set that bucket right here. And we have flowers because today, as Laurel said, is our flower communion. How many of you have attended a flower communion before? Ooh, I see a lot of the adults, some of the kiddos. Yes, a few of you have attended the flower communion. Does anybody know what happens during the flower communion? People do what? They bring flowers. And then what do you think happens later? We smell them. We can smell them. And maybe later we'll have a ritual. And maybe you will get a flower. Do we know what a ritual is?
Or we could plant them in the ground.
We could try to plant them. There are friends that have plants that are going to be planted in the ground. What is a ritual? Because this is our ritual today.
A ritual is like when you go around and pass something out.
A ritual could be when you pass something out. Do we do any rituals Sunday morning here when we gather? Can anybody tell me of any rituals that we do? We do what? We light our chalice. That is a ritual. Any other rituals that we do? We sing songs. Those are rituals. We have a special song we sing at the end of service that is longtime son, Elliot. We do a ritual of water and stones to celebrate joys and acknowledge sorrows. So in all of that, we bring ourselves. We bring ourselves here, and we have a little bucket here. Do you want to look at our little bucket? And so this bucket symbolizes that when we bring things here, when you show up, you fill this space, and your presence makes it sacred, right? When you come in and we light this chalice, that represents something larger than ourselves. Our community that loves each other, brings in love, and gives back love. And today, our flower communion is also representative of all of these things we bring in our diversity: prickly, soft, smelly, not so smelly, right? All of these things that we bring, and we each bring gifts. So today, for our children, to symbolize that we bring ourselves, because look around this room, each of you is a gift and a blessing. When our children are with us, they are gifts and blessings. And so, because we are all gifts and blessings to each other, I invite you each to take a little heart to symbolize that as you leave to go to your classes in a few minutes, you take love from this community. And as we are doing our faith formation here, you are doing your faith formation in your classroom. So here is a little magnetic heart for each of you.
Where's the pink one?
Oh, there are pink ones right outside the bucket, right here, to match. Did everybody who wants a heart get a heart? Ah, right here.
I didn't want this.
Okay, do you want to take one for yourself? Okay.
Come here, buddy.
Yeah, we have one.
Okay. Okay. So now that we all have a heart, if we want one, let us sing our children to their classes. And if you are visiting us for the first time, you can go to Sandberg Hall and meet the facilitators or collaborators and find out where your child will go and where you can pick him or her up. So please rise in body or spirit, and let's sing our children out.
Thank you. You may be seated. I want to invite you into a spirit of meditation or prayer or reflection, whatever you feel called to, as we think about how Mother's Day calls up powerful feelings in us. Not just because of the day, but because of the vastly different experiences we have had as mothers ourselves or as not being mothers. Some of us are happy mothers on this day with our children at our side or calling to send us their love and good wishes. Some of us, though, any and all genders, have never birthed a child. Some of us have never even once been pregnant, although we long to be. Some have miscarried in spite of all our best efforts to give birth. And for some, Mother's Day calls back to the front of the brain memories of letting go, of abortions, or children who died long before their time, or of our children adopted by others or taken from us by others in or out of court, or our children estranged from us for reasons we may never fully understand. Yet just as we have all, sometime by someone, been mothered, so have we all mothered our own children or those of another. Even if we've never birthed a baby, we have birthed perhaps a book or a painting, a garden or a song. Somewhere, sometime, we have sown seeds of gladness and brought something to life. And so now, as Dr. Les plays some beautiful music, I want to invite you to take a moment to contemplate that and into this space quietly speak the name of someone or something you have mothered, someone or something who has mothered you in love and care. Don't worry if your words overlap with another or they're lost in the music. What we are doing is bringing forth those words and those memories to each other and holding them together in care. So as we receive this gift of music, please speak your prayer into the space.
We have two readings today. The first is Children's Hospital Emergency Room by Laurel Jernigan. You do not want to be here. You wish it were you. The doctor is stitching up. It is a cut on the chin, fixable this time, but deep enough to make you think of gashes, puncture wounds, flesh unfolding to the bond. Your child is lying on the table, restrained. You must be still, the nurse who cradles her head is saying. And the doctor is embroidering. Delicately, patiently, like a kind aunt, but there is not enough solace in that to make you stop thinking of other children whose hurt blooms like a dark interior bruise. In other rooms, there is hysteria, the sound of glass shattering, and in the next bay, there is a child who is sleeping too soundly. You do not want to hear such silence. The evidence which convicts puts away. Wake up, you whisper, wake up. You want to think of water, a surface with no scars. You want the perpetuity of circles, a horizon clear and unbroken, and the sky a flat blue immensity without sides or depth. But there is nothing you can do. When your daughter calls out, it hurts, and things regain their angularity. The vulnerable opaqueness, I'm here, you say. Be still, I'm here. And our next reading is The Summer Camp Bus Pulls Away from the Curb by Sharon Olds. Whatever he needs, he has or doesn't have by now. Whatever the world is going to do to him, it has started to do. With a pencil and 2 Hardy Boys, a peanut butter sandwich and grapes, he is on his way. There's nothing more we can do for him. Whatever is stored in his heart, he can use now. Whatever he has laid up in his mind, he can call on. What he does not have, he can lack. The bus gets smaller and smaller as one folds a flag at the end of a ceremony, onto itself and onto itself until only a heavy wedge remains. Whatever his exuberant soul can do for him, it is doing right now. Whatever his arrogance can do in him, it is doing. Everything that has been done to him, he will now do. Everything that's been placed in him will come out now, the contents of a trunk, unpacked and lined up on a bunk in the underpine light.
We're going to sing together No Other People's Children by UU composer Elizabeth Alexander. This will be a rehearsal for Music Sunday that's on June the 2nd, because we'll sing it again. So some of you may have a sheet of music, and if you do, please turn those in at the end of the service so we can reuse them. Also, the words will be on the screens for those of you who don't have music. We begin with our soloists, Emily Dake and Wes Miller, and later on Sandra Goodson will also be singing. And they will start the song and the choir will sing, and then at a certain point, Emily will invite you to sing along, and I'll give you a cue so you'll know when that happens. And we will remain seated.
How did we get to this place where we can look at each other's face and see anything but beauty and understanding? I want to know who you are and face the suffering that keeps us far apart.
I can never truly see the world through your eyes or take away your
hoping you can hear me saying, you are my neighbor, you are beloved, you are worth seeing for who you are. You are my neighbor, you are beloved, you are worth seeing for who you are. I'm here, I'm listening with you. Break bread with me, make peace with me, speak the truth with me, begin again with me, relate with me, create with me, be the change with me that keeps our children safe and free. There are no other people's heartaches. There are no other people's injuries. There are no other people's children in this world. See what is unseen.
Say what is unspoken.
Believe that there's no wall between our beating hearts. Sing it with me. You are my neighbor, you are beloved, you are worth seeing for who you are. You are my neighbor, you are beloved, you are worth seeing for who you are. I'm here, I'm listening with you. Hold hands with me. You are my neighbor. You are beloved. Oh, and take a chance with me. You are my neighbor. You are beloved. Oh, keep our children safe and free. There are no other people's heartaches. There are no other people's injuries. There are no other people's children in this
Friends, have we had church? Yeah, right? We can go home now. It's fine. Oh, well, I'm going to still preach at you. So we Unitarian Universalists think a lot. We have a long-standing spiritual practice of questioning, reflecting, considering, querying, and ruminating. We take very few things at face value, which I think is a very fine thing indeed. Certainly not holidays like Mother's Day. Our own Unitarian foremother, Julia Ward Howe, had attempted to create a Mother's Day for peace as far back as 1872. But actually, the current incarnation that we know today of a day to celebrate one's personal mother is actually a separate thing. It was successfully lobbied for and established in 1914 by President Woodrow Wilson, who was responding to the efforts of Anna Jarvis, who was a Methodist. No, we UUs don't usually just say, how fabulous, a day for the unquestioning purchase of holiday cards. So our worship together at such moments tends to reflect our wrestling. Can I get an amen? Right? I'm a mother, and here's something I learned very quickly. It is a messy business. I mean, literally messy. As anyone who has suddenly entered a world, this hadn't happened to me before I was a mother, but suddenly I was being pooped on or vomited on repeatedly. But it's also existentially messy. Human relationships of love and connection can lift us to those heights of joy, but they also, and people don't always tell you this, they evoke rage and sorrow and loss that registers on an extreme scale. That's why I sometimes think we just need to pause in our lives and bless the mess. Set aside our judgments about how good or bad that we or our circumstances are. Resist just for a while, measuring, comparing, striving. Resist cleaning things up, making them prettier, fretting about what other people are thinking. Just set all that aside and rest. Rest just a little while in the knowledge that messes and disasters and unintended consequences are just a very, very big part of life. We all have them. There's no life into which rain and imperfection doesn't fall. So let's make this a holiday to celebrate all the mess that life and love bring. I want to do a little meditation with you now. I want you to actually close your eyes so you can bring your imagination to the forefront. And make yourselves as comfortable as possible. And I want you to imagine that you're inviting people over to your house, where you live. Your house, maybe just your bedroom if you don't live independently. And your friends, they're going to be over any minute now. And right now, this second, your child, your partner, your neighbor, maybe it's a random stranger, comes into your space and spills chocolate cake batter all over the space. Trips and falls. It goes spinning and flying around. Don't ask why they were carrying chocolate cake batter. Just feel the feeling of it. It's everywhere. It's splashed on the floor. It's on the walls. Well, some even got on the ceiling. How is that even possible? Now, you don't have a carpet cleaner. Yours is broken. You lent it out, maybe. What is going on outside right now? Oh, are your friends pulling up right this moment? Yeah, they're here. And so is this big, gooey chocolate mess. Now, in our home, I regret to say that a few cross or very loud words might be shared at such a moment. Blame might be apportioned. Tears of pain or regret, even anger or frustration might be shed. But why? Why do we so often respond this way? Feel your body as you imagine the mess. Are you tense? Is your breathing more shallow? Now think for a moment more. Are you any less worthy of love if you have a mess on your floor? Or even if you are the one who spilled the chocolate gooey mess on someone else's floor? Are you less human after such a mistake? Do you have less inherent worth or dignity because you caused or you had an accident? Now, shift your focus for a moment. Imagine you're the one coming up the walk. You're arriving at your friend's house, and they open the door, and it's an incredible mess. There's something dark and sticky everywhere. Look at it. It's already on your hands. Do you like your friend less? Does your love decrease because there's been some sort of accident or a spill here? I invite you, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. You can arrive back in this place, because I'd be very surprised if in any of those thought experiments, someone here consciously thought, yes, I am less worthy of love because there's a mess. Or, yeah, I would love someone less if I showed up at their house and somebody had an accident, had a spill. That would be very surprising, right? Yet we so often lose perspective on the messy, complicated things in life. We forget again and again that messes happen. Maybe if we're upset enough this time, we or some other person will never make a mess again or have an accident ever again. Maybe we can get that mad. What if instead we allowed our messes to be a blessing, a gentle reminder that we're not in control? We're very rarely in control of much, to be honest, but that most of the time, things are okay anyway. What if we refuse to allow a stain or a mark or even a scar to define our worth? What if we just decided to face our messes with a little laughter, a lot of love for the human frailty that they represent, and then just did our best to clean them up without allowing it to consume us? What if we just decided to bless the mess? Now, I think you get where this service is coming from. It is all a mess. There is nothing easy about getting born, being raised, having or not having kids, though lots of us who have kids act like it is. We act like it's better to have had kids than not have kids. We're partial. We're often pretty fond of the experience. But in reality, it's a mix. And it's not easy having or losing or letting go of a mother. My colleague, Joanna Fontaine Crawford, once posted a mother clip from a teen book that she loved back in the day. It's a book called Honey by Helen Kavanaugh. And I'm going to share with you a section from it. A character named Van is talking and says, "My mama started by telling me straight out that there is no such thing as the perfect mother. That's a fairy tale, a myth someone made up a long time ago. Mothers," she said, "are only people with good points and failings just like everyone else. You can't expect a single person to give you everything you need in the way of loving and mothering. Mama said, what you do is decide what you need and then get it from whoever is willing to give it to you. Like, imagine a pie. If you cut it up, it's still a pie. It's still good. It's still nourishing. It can fill you up with goodness. So say your real mother is one piece of the pie, honey, and Mrs. Redfield is another, and your friend the librarian is another piece, and the old lady who just died, she was one more. They all give you what they can give, and sounds like your Danny might be a piece of that pie too, and even your dad at one time." She grinned. "Men can be mothers too, you know." She didn't wait for my reply, and I was glad. I was busy trying to digest it all. Mama said, "Most of all, don't ever feel guilty for getting what you need. Tell yourself that you deserve it all. Imagine that if she could, your own mom would give you permission for it. I mean, maybe she just can't express her feelings, put it into words the way my mama could. But for sure, my mama had bad moments too. Times when she felt like she was a terrible failure, plenty of times when she wanted to say something like that to you. Having a mother pie is not only good for kids, but it's good for mothers too. Kind of takes the burden off. No one person is perfect. People are human beings, that's all. But listen, honey, when you put all those pieces in one pan or in your heart, then you have one heck of a good pie. And maybe you are part of someone else's mother pie. One last thing, you've got to include yourself in that old mother pie, honey. When everyone else lets you down, and they will sometimes, why, you just be a good mother to yourself. Love yourself. When you're able to do that, you'll be in very good shape. This work that we often call mothering, it's human work. We all do some of it. Some of it on ourselves, some of it for others. Sometimes we have an effect on strangers passing in ways we never realize. Now, if today you want to celebrate your very own personal mother, the person who gave you birth, or the person who raised you as their own, then of course, by all means, do that. We'll do it here together too. But if for any reason you don't want to do that, then as part of the glorious and confusing, confounding, confabulated mess that is human life in the 21st century, we're still going to join in celebrating in remembrance of all the people who gave you life. Not just literally, but spiritual life givers. People who taught you essential life lessons. Those people who equipped you to survive, who loved you when you felt least lovable. Life is a gift, and it is handed to us imperfectly again and again by those people around us. And we, in turn, we hand it to others. Sometimes we drop it. Sometimes we're carelessly tossing it at each other. Sometimes we do it with the greatest intention and regard humanly possible. It is a messy business being alive, being human, creating community. And so this morning, what we want to do is thank each other for showing up and doing it the best we can. And that's all we need to do. Amen. So we're going to pivot now and let that mothering pie sermon messiness flow right into the flower communion part. But we have to begin that with a story too. How many of you are actually familiar with the bigger story of the flower communion, the history of the flower communion? A few. But we want everyone to know it's so important. It matters so much, and maybe more than ever right now. So I'm going to just tell it to you this way. His mother was a devout Catholic. His father, agnostic. He became an acolyte at age 10 in 1890 at St. Martin's Catholic Church. In the years that followed, he became disillusioned. His priest was a cynic. At 18, apprenticed to his uncle, a successful tailor in Vienna, Norbert Čapek discovered the Baptists, and he became a minister. He founded almost a dozen churches from Ukraine to Budapest. Yet slowly, his faith became more and more liberal. He left Bohemia under government threat and accepted a call to serve a Baptist church in New York City until one day in 1919. That day, he wrote in his diary, "I cannot be a Baptist anymore, even in compromise. The fire of new desires, new worlds is burning inside me." Norbert and his wife Maya Čapek joined a Unitarian church in New Jersey in 1921. World War I ended. His home country now independent, he and Maya returned home to Czechoslovakia. His Unitarian church was the Prague Liberal Religious Fellowship. In just 20 years, y'all, come on, can we do this? In just 20 years, he grew his church to 3,200 members. The traditional Christian communion service of bread and wine wouldn't meet the needs of his congregation because his church, like ours, had people who believed different things. So Čapek turned to the beauty of the countryside, to the beauty of flowers. In 1923, he developed the flower ceremony. He asked his congregants to bring a flower to church from their gardens, from the field, from the roadsides. He invited each person to place their flower in a vase. There was the church community, no less unique for being united. And in the service, each person could take a flower from the vase, a different one from the one that they had brought. Because you see, in community, we all bring gifts to the table of life, and we take away something that we did not bring to bear. Čapek was a visionary minister with a church ahead of its time, a bold church, a church thinking beyond its doors, beyond what it thought possible. It was a church willing to take risks, to make tough decisions, to bear disappointment, and to build a new way. That is our church. That is Čapek's church. And for this, the Gestapo arrested him in 1942. The Nazis accused Čapek of listening to foreign broadcasts and sent him to Dachau. Even in starvation and torture, he held a flower ceremony with his fellow prisoners, finding whatever flowers they could among the weeds of the camp. They testified to a beauty larger than themselves and a love that would outlive them. The Nazis killed Norbert Čapek, but his spirit, courage, and commitment live on today. Those qualities have passed now to us to make them real. His wife, Maya, brought the flower ceremony to the Unitarian Church in Cambridge, Massachusetts in 1940. And so what we are about to do is not a historical reenactment of something that's over and done, but it is an affirmation of our continuity with the generations of struggle forever widening liberty. And certainly, that is something that we need to take very seriously in our own days. This flower ceremony, lovely though it is not a diversion from ugly reality, but a gentle fearness which proclaims that in the midst of sinister days, there is always the light of beauty. We're not here to recall something that happened, but to remember that this is something that is happening, to remember, to put it back together again. And in that remembering, may we put ourselves back together again, each as part of the body of this community, out of many, one. So today we celebrate this ritual of solemnity and joy. Some of you have brought flowers today. We're deeply, deeply grateful. In the years to come, we hope more of you will bring, but please know that these flowers represent the beauty of our community. And what we invite you now to do, we're going to begin with our choir to come forward and choose a flower that you did not bring to have as a physical representation of the beauty and power of our faith and our community. And then after the choirs had a chance to do that, we'll invite everyone else to come forward as well. As you've found your flower, the one that speaks to you, I want to take a moment. I'm going to take a couple of pictures. I want to invite you all, after everyone's had a chance to get their flower and maybe find their way back. We're going to hold them up so that we can see the community in flowers. Hold them up so we can see the beauty of our community in one another. Thank you.
So now is the time in our service when we welcome our visitors, if we have anyone visiting us today. And if you would be willing or brave enough to stand up and introduce yourself and tell us where you're visiting from, we would love to be able to greet you. And the ushers have microphones here, so we'll just have them come around.
Yeah, sure. Hey. Hi, I'm Heather. I'm visiting from here. Checking this out. I have friends that go here and love it here, so this is a great vibe. Y'all are wonderful.
Hi, I'm Jim Parks. This is my wife, Mary. And we are visiting from Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist Congregation, ain't that a mouthful, in Oak Park, Illinois, just outside Chicago. Happy to be here with you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Right over here.
Hi, my name is Lisa Henry, and I am visiting from, Fayetteville, Fayetteville, West Virginia, and this is really a lovely congregation and a beautiful service. Thank you.
Welcome.
My name is Vic. I'm visiting from about 50 miles north in the little town of Spruce Pine. I'm good friends with Sean. We've known each other for years, pretty much had the same background, and I feel very welcome here today. Thank you.
Oh, one more right back here.
Where? Oh.
Good morning. My name is Stephanie. I just moved here from Wisconsin 2 days ago. I'm still asleep. Happy to be here. I'm going to be the new minister at Jubilee Community here in town. So I wanted to come see you because I love UUs. We're similar. So anyway, thank you for letting me join you today.
And I'm Dan, and I just moved Stephanie, but I come from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and glad to meet you all here today.
Welcome.
Thank you all so much for standing up, and we're so glad to have you here. If you're from in town, we hope you'll come back and see us. And Trevor here is our connections coordinator. If you have any questions or want any information about our congregation, he is the man to talk to. So please find him after the service. A few pieces of housekeeping. Our announcements run before the service on the slides, but they can all of that information can be found in the e-newsletter that goes out on Thursdays. If you don't get that, you can, I believe, sign up on our website or email information at uuasheville.org to be added to that newsletter list. We have 2 services right now. We'll be going down to 1 in the summer. Who likes coffee? Anybody into coffee? Okay. It's so fun to be able to come here and have a nice cup of coffee and visit with people, whether it's between the services or whenever it happens. But that doesn't happen without people that come in to make it and then clean up after it. And this is something that I think is so special that we do for ourselves to build community. It's such an easy way to plug in here, especially if you're new or if you're just looking for a way to help out once a month, once a quarter. You just need to get on Trevor's email. He sends an email out. There's a sign-up genius. You pick a time. It's pretty short little blocks of time, and it goes a long way to building the community here. So we do need more people on that list. If you want to meet up, find Trevor afterwards and get your name added to that, we would be super grateful. I try to do it as much as I can. It's fun and easy. It feels like I'm really contributing, and you get to learn how to work that dishwasher, which is cool. So moving on, our community plate, which is where we share half of our collections at the offering this month, is prison books, and you can find more information about that, I believe, in the newsletter, the e-newsletter. It's a really amazing organization. You can donate by check or cash. If you do a check, you can write community plate in the memo line, but we will be splitting proceeds with them 50-50. But also the work of this congregation is supported entirely by the giving of our members and friends. So we celebrate your generosity every Sunday with music and thanks. You make all of this possible. The offering will now be gratefully received. For the gifts of your presence, time, wisdom, and resources, we are truly grateful.
And now I want to invite you, as our service draws to a close, to rise to the peak of your physical and or spiritual stature. As you're willing and able to do so, we have a few words, and then we will sing together our closing song, Longtime Son. And for all that we have shared and all that we love, may we give thanks and carry the spirit of this community out into a world which needs each and every one of us.